Uganda is trailing its peers in the continent in the startup sector due to the lack of regulations and limited government support, says Eric Sempambo, the business environment specialist at the Private Sector Foundation Uganda.
Because startups require a lot of venture capital support, we do not have a law that can provide confidence to a venture capital to lay capital in Uganda. Because one of the things they look at is how is government prioritizing startups. And the only way how government prioritizes startups is through policy and laws. So if a venture capitalist out there wants to look at Uganda, the first thing they do is Google on a startup policy. If you try in Uganda, you'll find a series of policies. So you're making a venture capitalist become a researcher. And yet they are not into that business.
Although some locally incorporated startups such as SafeBorder, Numida, Innovex and M-Copper have made progress, they are yet to reach their full potential, experts observe.
This policy is coming to precisely address those challenges, to really open up opportunities so that we are seeing more sustained growth, we are seeing more startups, but the kind of startups that attract financing, create a lot of work opportunities, but also become those what they're calling unicorns, become really big.
The players laud the pronouncement by President Yoweri Museveni on an extended taxation grace period for startups, but appeal for more support to tackle existing constraints affecting the ecosystem.
And I'm sure when we proceed to having a policy itself, we definitely will have maybe somewhat a framework that protects startups, that guards startups. Just recently in the National Science Week, we had a pronouncement from the president where he clearly said that why should startups pay tax in their first, 10 years?
A number of them take even up to 10 years to break even. You can find a startup that is employing 2,000 people when they have not even broken even, but they are still proving a concept. So it is important to have a good incentive regime that supports them as they move along this journey of growing enterprises from one level to the other.
Uganda's entrepreneurial culture, a rapidly growing, well-educated young workforce, and tech savviness is credited for the growth of startups. Fundamentals of a startup ecosystem are resources such as skills, money, and time. In Uganda, a startup is defined as a new entity of at least 12 months old that applies innovation or technology to develop a disruptive process, product development or service that is scalable and has potential to grow and commercialize. Dennis Igoa for UBC News.